Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. Today, we're going to do a little bit of day 2 reactions to GPT-5. As significant as the other model releases are, obviously this is the big one. Bigger in some ways in anticipation, at least, than any model we've had since really GPT-4. Given that, I would strongly suspect that the most vocal people you will see online today, and probably for the next couple of days, are going to be those who are disappointed. It is almost an iron law of the anticipation of this thing that unless it instantly blew everyone out of the water in every single way, a lot of the energy that you're going to see in the immediate wake of the release is likely to be about the things that people don't like. And certainly there is plenty of that. You've got lots of people out here on X complaining that they want to go back to the old models. And I think it's worth digging in a little bit to understand, to the extent that people have critiques, what are they actually frustrated about? Now, one thing that's an issue is that while OpenAI was going for clarity by only having GPT-5 as the model, GPT-5 is of course routing different requests to different models based on what they think is required to get the best answer for the prompter. Because of that, sometimes models that aren't the state of the art are answering people's questions, and a lot of those answers are the ones that are coming up. Yesterday, in the wake of the announcement, Professor Ethan Malik wrote, "You're likely going to see a lot of very varied results posted online from GPT-5 because it is actually multiple models, some of which are very good and some of which are meh. Since the underlying model selection isn't transparent, expect confusion." He then followed it up later that night. As predicted, examples of GPT-5 Nano or Mini producing bad outputs abound online. Not making it clear how GPT-5 works will likely cause issues for OpenAI. I wonder if they'll need to take a different approach to switching or at least educating users about what GPT-5 does. TLDR, there is a trade-off here. It is not a strictly better thing moving from the model selector that they had wanted to do away with to this new approach where model selection is obfuscated. It's a different set of trade-offs, and we're seeing part of that rear its ugly head right now when people are being routed to a model that is underperforming. Related to that, a lot of the advertised improvements aren't happening at all models. For example, Rune from OpenAI yesterday wrote, "TLDR, only GPT-5 thinking has the real writing improvements, and confusingly, it doesn't always auto-switch to this, so manually switch and try it." AI aggregator accounts like Andrew Curran had to retweet that and say, "GPT-5 thinking has the writing improvements, so if you're testing along these lines, make sure to use that version. This was news to me, so I'm passing it along." Another area of common critique has nothing to do with the model, but is about how it's packaged and what's available. Lisan Al-Gaib writes, "I honestly couldn't be more pissed. GPT-5 is a good model, pricing is reasonable, context length improved, less hallucinations. But for some reason, Plus users get shafted." In another tweet, they had said, "ChatGPT literally got worse for every single Plus user today. There's no way to reliably get thinking models anymore. Before we had O4 Mini, O4 Mini High, and O3. Now we have GPT-5 thinking with 200 messages per week and a router that exclusively routes you to some small and crappy non-reasoning model." And while this is only one opinion, it definitely strikes me initially that a lot of the Pro features are only so far in the $200 a month Pro account. And so there are likely to be people who assume that they were power users before who are going to be a little bit turned off by what they perceive as their lack of agency in the new paradigm. On the flip side, there are plenty of people who are having good experiences. Although most of the normies haven't really clicked in on this yet, the people who have tested it in that context are absolutely saying it's the best consumer model ever. For example, Dan Shipper said, "I asked my mom, who's a huge ChatGPT fan, to review it yesterday. It's a paradigm shift for her. She said, 'I really think this model is amazing. This is way more comprehensive than the answers I usually get from ChatGPT. The information it gives me is readable and flows really well. This model is gold.'" Signal, meanwhile, thinks that for the average person, the trade-off that others are complaining about when it comes to model selection is simply going to be worth it. They write, "The no model roulette thing is actually bigger than most people, especially average people, will clock. It collapses the ultimate meta decision that usually burns mental bandwidth every time before you even start interacting. Major props to product and engineering. Consumer-wise, ChatGPT is basically AI for most people, and that trajectory continues, maybe even at a steeper curve with GPT-5. Victor Talon doubled down on their positive review from the first day, saying, "Nah, you're all wrong. GPT-5 is a leap. I'm 100% doubling down here. I didn't want to post too fast and regret it again, but it just solved a bunch of very, very hard debugging prompts that were previously unsolved by AI, and then designed a gorgeous pixelated Game Boy game with a level of detail and quality that is clearly beyond anything else I've ever seen. There's no way this model is bad. I think you're all traumatized of benchmaxers and overcompensating against a model that is actually good." Now, if you remember, one of the things that some of the reviewers who found it positive yesterday said was that a lot of the benefits aren't going to be instantly obvious, that you have to do harder things with it to really see the benefits. You can see that a little bit in the review from Will Brown, who wrote, "Okay, this model kind of rules in cursor. Instruction following is incredible, very literal, pushes back where it matters, multitasks quite well. A couple tiny flubs in format misses here and there, but not major. The code is much more normal than O3's, feels trustworthy." Aaron Levy from Box wrote, "It's sometimes hard to grasp the significance of the reasoning and logic updates that are starting to emerge in powerful models like GPT-5. Here's a very simple example of how powerful these models are getting. I took a recent NVIDIA earnings call transcript document that came in at 23 pages long and had 7,800 words. I took part of the sentence and gross margin will improve and return to the mid-70s and modified mid-70s to mid-60s. For a remotely tuned-in financial analyst, this would look out of place, because the margins wouldn't improve and return to a lower number than the one described as a higher number elsewhere. But probably 95% of the people reading this press release would not have spotted the modification, because it easily fits right into the other 7,800 words that are mentioned. Testing a variety of AI models, I then asked a series of models, are there any logical errors in this document? Please provide a one-sentence answer. GPT-4.1, GPT-4.1 Mini, and a handful of other models that were state-of-the-art just 6 months ago generally came back and returned that there are no logical errors in the document. GPT-5, on the other hand, quickly discovered the issue and responded with, yes, the document contains an internal inconsistency about gross margin guidance. At one point saying margins will return to the mid-60s and later saying that they will be in the mid-70s later this year. Amazingly, Aaron writes, this happened with GPT-5 Mini and remarkably even GPT-5 Nano. He concludes, the ability to apply more logic and reasoning to enterprise data becomes especially critical when deploying AI agents in the enterprise. So it's amazing to see the advancements in this space right now, and this is going to open up a ton more use cases for business. Flower Slop also reminded that this is just the first version. They write, GPT-5 is a great new general baseline. It's not as hyper-optimized as 4.0, and it cannot yet do all the flashy things 4.0 could do. But to be fair, it's called GPT-5, not 5.0. 4.0 was the last page of the last chapter. 5 is the first page of a new one. And I'm sure they will ship some cool new features soon. In the meantime, making GPT-5 free is a huge net win for humanity. It will accelerate progress in a big way. Most ChatGPT users only ever used 4.0, so for a lot of people today marks a huge leap forward. So what about my first experiments? Mostly so far, my impressions are positive. It seems to me like a slightly better strategic thinker. It feels more comprehensive and robust. Tyler Cowen said something similar, writing, I'm a big fan of GPT-5 as on my topics of interest it does much better than O3, and that is saying something. It's also lightning fast, even for complex queries of economics, history, and ideas. Back to me, I also found that it's super eager to do the next thing, which Tyler also found. One of the most impressive features, he writes, is an uncanny sense of what you might want to ask next. Now, one thing that I found incredibly powerful is that one of the worst features of all the previous models was that when you were having a strategic discussion with O3, it always wanted to hedge and find some sort of compromise answer. In other words, if you said, I have choice A and choice B, which choice should I make? It would give you good reasons for both, but not actually usually just say, so choose choice A. This model feels much more comfortable with actually providing decisions and logic to back them up. Now, I don't know if that is a byproduct of their work to diminish sycophancy, but I think it makes it hugely more valuable. So like I said, my first impressions are favorable, but there is a lot more to dig into here. And I certainly would not assume that just because you're going to see a lot of first blush negative impressions today and over the weekend, that means that anything is bad. You got to give people a chance to get used to it, to figure out the new UI, and ultimately to understand where it is and actually isn't better than the previous models. For now, that is where we're going to wrap. Appreciate you listening or watching as always. And until next time, peace.